You know what's unnerving about seasonal towns? They're designed for crowds, for noise, for life. The infrastructure, the businesses, the houses, all built for summer, for tourists, for temporary residents who flood in, fill every space, then leave. And in winter, all that capacity sits empty. All those buildings, all those rooms, all those streets, waiting, silent, preserved, like a stage set, like a movie set, like a place that only exists when people are watching, when people are there. But what happens to it when no one's watching, when everyone's gone, when it's just empty? Does it stay empty? Or does something else fill it? Something that waits, that hides, that only comes out when the season ends, when the tourists leave, when the town empties, when it's safe, when it's theirs. My name's Claire, and I spent this winter in Ashford Bay, Massachusetts. Population 8,000 in summer, population 47 in winter. I thought I'd be alone, thought I'd have peace, thought I'd have silence, but I wasn't alone. The town wasn't empty. It was full. Just not with people, not with anything I could name, with presences, with inhabitants, with the things that live here when we don't. And they don't want me to leave. They've decided I belong to the winter now, that I'm part of the permanent population, that I'm one of the 47. Forever. I came to Ashford Bay in November. Off-season rental, cheap, isolated, perfect for what I needed. I'm a writer, was going through a divorce, needed space, needed distance, needed somewhere quiet to finish my book, to reset, to disappear for a few months. The landlord warned me. It gets dead here in winter, really dead. Most businesses close, most people leave. Just a few of us year-round folks stick around. You sure you want that? That kind of quiet? I said yes. I wanted exactly that. That kind of quiet. That kind of empty. That kind of isolation. I thought I did. But I didn't understand what winter emptiness meant in a town like this. A town built for 12,000 summer visitors, built for crowded beaches and packed restaurants and full hotels. All that infrastructure, all that capacity, all sitting vacant, all waiting, all hungry. The house was perfect. 2-bedroom cottage, 3 blocks from the beach, fully furnished, heat included, month-to-month lease through March. I moved in on November 15th. The town was already quiet, already transitioning. Businesses closing for the season, families leaving, summer people going home. By December 1st, it was a ghost town, not metaphorically. Actually, every shop closed, every restaurant shuttered, every street empty, every building dark. Just me and the 46 other year-rounders, scattered, isolated, rarely seen. The landlord had given me a list. If you need anything, names and numbers, the grocery store owner, the hardware store, the pharmacy, the police chief. We take care of each other in winter. Everyone on this list. We're what keeps the town alive. We're the permanent folks, the ones who belong here, the winter population. I settled in, set up my workspace, started writing. The quiet was perfect. Just wind, just waves, just the sound of a coastal town in winter. Peaceful, productive. Exactly what I needed for the first week. Then things started feeling off. Not wrong exactly, just different. The kind of different you notice but can't quite articulate. The kind that makes you look twice, makes you check, makes you wonder. Like the beach. I walked it every morning, same route, same time, and I started noticing the footprints. Not mine, others, fresh. In the sand, leading to the water, but never coming back. Just one-way tracks, into the ocean, into the waves, disappearing. Every morning, different prints, different sizes, different patterns, all going in, none coming out. And the businesses, the closed ones, with their dark windows and locked doors and closed for season, see you in May, signs. I'd walk past at night, and sometimes I'd see lights inside, movement, Shadows. Like they were open. Like people were in there. Shopping. Eating. Working. But when I'd look directly, when I'd focus, darkness. Empty. Closed. Like I'd imagined it. Like it had been nothing. But I'd seen it. I know I'd seen it. The periphery doesn't lie. The corner of your eye sees what's really there. What tries to hide when you look directly. What exists in the spaces between attention. The neighbors bothered me too. I never saw them. Never. I'd hear them. Cars starting, doors closing, voices. Faint, distant. But every house around me was dark, every driveway empty, every window black. I'd walk the street, looking, searching for the sources, for the people, for the neighbors. Nothing. Empty houses, vacant lots, darkness. But someone was there. Someone was making those sounds. Someone was living in this winter town. Someone besides me. Someone besides the 46-year rounders. Someone else. I tried to meet the locals, the actual residents, the permanent population. I went to the addresses on the landlord's list, the grocery store, closed, sign said open, hours posted, but door locked, lights off, empty. I knocked, called, nothing. Same with the hardware store, the pharmacy, all supposedly open, all actually closed, all wrong. I found the police station, small building, municipal, official. The door was unlocked. I entered, called out. Hello? Anyone here? Chief Morrison? The building was empty. Desk vacant, computer off, but warm, recently occupied, coffee in the pot, still hot, fresh. Someone had just been here, had just left, moments before I arrived, avoiding me, leaving before I could see them, before I could meet them, before I could confirm they existed. I called the landlord. Where is everyone? The people on your list, the year-rounders. I can't find anyone. Silence on the line. Then, they're around, they're there. You have to look at the right times, in the right ways. Winter folks, they're different. They keep different hours. They exist differently. You'll see them. Eventually, when you're ready, when you belong. When I belong. What did that mean? How many people are actually here, I asked. How many year-rounders? 46, he said. Used to be 47, but old Mrs. Chen passed last March. Hasn't been replaced yet. Takes time, takes selection, takes the right person. Someone who fits. Someone who stays. Something in his voice. Something satisfied. Something expectant. Like he knew something. Like he was waiting. Like I was... What? The replacement? The 47th? The one selected? The one who fits? The one who'll stay? I started documenting. Taking photos. Recording audio. Video. Documenting the emptiness. The wrongness. The evidence that this wasn't normal abandonment. That something else was happening. I photographed the businesses at night. The ones with lights and movement that disappeared when I focused. I recorded the neighbor sounds, the voices and cars and lives that came from empty houses. I documented the footprints, the one-way tracks to the ocean, the evidence of presence without people, of life without living, of a town that functioned without inhabitants, or with inhabitants that weren't quite people, that weren't quite there, that existed in ways I couldn't fully perceive, in times I couldn't fully access, in states I couldn't fully understand. One night I followed the sounds, the neighbor sounds, the voice, clear, close, coming from the house next door. I walked over, knocked. Hello? I'm your neighbor. Just wanted to introduce myself. The voice stopped. Mid-sentence. Instant silence. I knocked again. Hello? The door, unlocked. I opened it. Stepped inside. Hello? Is anyone home? Empty. Completely empty. Not just vacant. Empty like it had never been furnished. Like it had never been lived in. Bare walls, bare floors, nothing. But I'd heard someone. Seconds ago, I'd heard them. Clear as day. Where did they go? Where could they go? There were no other exits, no back doors, no windows open. Just gone. Disappeared. Impossible. But real. Definitely real. I went back to my cottage. Locked the doors. All of them. Windows, too. Checking. Securing. Making sure I was alone. Making sure nothing could enter. Nothing could... I saw it then. Through the window. The street outside. Suddenly full. Crowded. People everywhere. Walking. Talking. Shopping. Like it was summer. Like the season hadn't ended. Like the town was populated. Full capacity. Full life. I blinked. Empty again. Dark street. Vacant sidewalks. Nothing. I looked again. Peripheral. Not directly. Full again. Crowds. Life. Activity. All there. All present. All existing. In the corner of my eye. In the space between focus. In the reality that exists when you're not quite looking. When you're not quite paying attention. When you're not quite... There. I understood then. The town didn't empty in winter. It shifted. It phased. It existed in multiple states. Multiple realities. Multiple... times? Maybe the summer crowds never left. Maybe they just moved to a different frequency, a different layer, a different version of Ashford Bay. And winter. Winter was when the barrier thinned, when the layers overlapped, when you could see both, could exist in both, could be part of both. If you stayed long enough. If you acclimated. If you became compatible. That's what the year-rounders were. The 46, the permanent population. People who existed in both layers, both realities, both versions. People who'd stayed so long they'd phased, who'd become part of both, who belonged to winter and summer simultaneously, who were always there, always present, always part of the town, forever, and they wanted me to phase, wanted me to become 47, wanted me to complete the winter population, to fill the vacancy, to replace Mrs. Chen, to stay, forever. I tried to leave, packed my car, loaded my things, drove to the town limits, the road out, the highway connection. But I couldn't find it. The road curved, turned back, led me in circles, through streets I recognized, past my cottage, past the empty businesses, past the phased neighbors, back to the center, back to the town, back to Ashford Bay. I tried different routes, different streets, different directions, all the same, all returning, all keeping me in. The town wouldn't let me leave, had closed around me, had claimed me, had decided I belonged, that I was selected, that I was the 47th, that I would stay. I tried walking, left the car, hiked into the woods, following deer trails, animal paths, natural routes, away from the town, away from the roads, away from the infrastructure. But the woods, they weren't normal woods. They were too regular, too maintained, too deliberate, like a park, like a designed space, like they were still part of the town, still inside the boundary, still within the loop. I walked for hours, always in forest, never emerging, never finding the edge, never escaping. Just trees and paths and the feeling of circling, of staying, of being kept, until I found myself back at the beach, at the sand, at the water, at the footprints, the one-way tracks, the ones that led in, the ones that never came back. And I understood. That's the other way. That's the only exit. Into the water. Into the ocean. Into the place where the phased ones go. Where they exist fully. Where they belong completely. Where they're always present. In both layers. Both times. Both realities. Summer and winter. Tourist and resident. Living and something else. I see them now. The 46. Walking the streets. Shopping in the closed stores. Eating in the empty restaurants. Living their lives. In the phase layer. In the winter reality. in the state I'm starting to access, starting to perceive, starting to join. My vision shifts, phases, shows me both, the empty town, the full town, overlapping, coexisting, simultaneous. And I'm in both now. When I look in the mirror, sometimes I'm there, sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I'm solid, sometimes I'm translucent, sometimes I'm phasing, becoming, joining, belonging. The landlord called. "How's the cottage? How's winter treating you? You doing okay?" I told him everything. The emptiness, the fullness, the phasing, the inability to leave, the becoming. He laughed. "That's just winter in Ashford Bay. That's just how it is. You'll get used to it. You'll settle in. You'll join us. You'll be 47. Welcome to the permanent population. Welcome to winter. Welcome home." He hung up, and I understood. He'd known. They'd all known. The year-rounders, the 46. They'd been waiting for someone new, someone compatible, someone who'd stay, who'd phase, who'd complete them, who'd make 47 again. And I'm phasing, daily, hourly, losing solidity, gaining simultaneity, existing in both, belonging to both, summer and winter, tourist season and off-season, present and something else. I walk to the beach now, every morning, looking at the footprints, the one-way tracks, understanding them finally. They're not going in, they're not drowning, they're crossing, to the full layer, to the complete phase, to the state where summer and winter are one, where the town exists eternally, where the population never leaves, never empties, never changes, just is, forever. And I'm walking closer, closer to the water, closer to the crossing, closer to the final phase, where I'll be 47, where I'll complete the winter population, where I'll belong, forever, in Ashford Bay, in both layers, in all times, in the eternal season, that never ends, that never empties, that never releases, just keeps, just holds, just contains everyone who comes, everyone who stays, everyone who phases, everyone who becomes, part of the 47, part of the permanent, part of the winter. That is also summer. That is also fall. That is also spring. That is all seasons, all times, all states, all simultaneously, forever, in the town, by the ocean, in the empty streets that are full, in the closed stores that are open, in the vacant houses that are occupied, by us, by the 47, by the ones who stayed, who phased, who belonged, forever. If you're haunted by more stories from people who've gone to isolated places seeking solitude and found something that wanted them to stay forever, make sure to subscribe to Campfire Nightmares. And I need to know, have you ever been to a seasonal town in the off-season? Felt like you were being watched from empty buildings? Seen movement in places that should be vacant? Felt like the town didn't want you to leave? Felt yourself changing the longer you stayed? Share what you experienced in the comments, because I think Ashford Bay isn't unique. I think there are seasonal towns everywhere. Beach towns, ski towns, resort towns, all designed for temporary crowds, all emptying in the off-season, all waiting, all needing their permanent populations, their year-rounders, their phased ones, the people who exist in both layers, who belong to both seasons, who stay when everyone else leaves, who become part of the place, forever. And maybe you've been to one. Maybe you've felt the pull. Maybe you've started phasing. Maybe you couldn't leave. Maybe you're still there, in the empty streets, in the closed stores, in the vacant houses, existing in both, belonging to both, summer and winter, tourist and resident, living and phasing, forever, as part of the 47, the 83, the 129, whatever number your town needs, whatever vacancy you filled, whatever permanent position you accepted, by staying, by remaining, by not leaving when you should have, by becoming part of the winter, part of the off-season, part of the town that never empties, that only shifts, changes layers, phases realities, keeps everyone, forever, in the eternal season, in the permanent population, in the place you can never leave, can only belong to, forever.